You can shade even just one vote for, let's say, for senator. You can just vote for one person or less, as long as it's less than 12, and the PCOS machine will be able to read and count your vote in case of undervoting. So this will not be a problem. It's only in the case of overvoting that's going to be a problem. Like I said, can a voter obtain a new ballot? Make some mistake? No, only one ballot per voter. This is an image of the PCOS machine. That's the image of the PCOS machine that will be on top of the ballot box, a special ballot box. This is what it looks like. How does a voter insert a ballot in the PCOS machine? You can insert the ballot in any orientation or direction as the dimensions of the PCOS feeder shall permit. There are 4 orientations in which the ballot may be fed into the PCOS machine. This is where you will insert the ballot. How will you know if the ballot has been successfully accepted? The PCOS machine will come out with a display stating that congratulations, your vote has been registered. This means that your vote has been accepted. The ballot box, your ballot has been accepted and your ballot has been counted. These are the cases where the PCOS will reject your ballots. These are some of the possible reasons. There's an ambiguous mark. There's a misread in the ballot, and it's an invalid ballot. This is this is your step in case your ballot is rejected by the PCOS machine. The voter should do the following depending on the reason given for the rejection of the ballot. If there's a case of an ambiguous mark, you have to check if the ovals are properly shaded. If not fully shaded, you have to do it properly. Misread ballot, you have to refeed the ballot in a different orientation. That's like a restart button, something to restart. Invalid ballot, you have to check if the ballot belongs to the same precinct in which the voter is voting. The problem is, what if you got a ballot from a different precinct? The PCOS machine will reject that. It will not accept it. It will not read it. Because like I mentioned, in the outer portion of the ballot, the security markings, it's specific to a precinct. You cannot use another ballot from another precinct in another precinct. This is the last option. If PCOS still does not accept the ballot being fed, return the ballot to the BEI chairman and register the objection to the rejection of the ballot. If there's a reason why you do not know the reason why it's rejected. You have only 4 opportunities to feed your ballot to the PCOS machine. After the 4th one, it will be considered a rejected ballot. In case of a rejected ballot, the BEI chairman shall distinctly mark the ballot as rejected and ask all the BEI members to sign the back portion with the notation that it was rejected and place this rejected ballot inside the envelope for rejected ballots. No replacement ballots will be issued to the voters whose ballot is rejected. The step 8 is return the ballot secrecy folder and marking pen to the BEI chairman and wait for the indelible ink to be applied to your finger and affix your thumb mark in EDCBN. Is it possible for a precinct to run out of ballots with voters still remaining to vote? This means there's more voters than ballots. Yes, this can happen. So in this case, the COMELEC has a contingency measure for this case. The BEI chairman shall issue a certification that the voter is registered voter of the precinct, but there are no more available ballots. The 3rd member of the BEI shall accompany the voter to the next precinct belonging to the same councillor district where the affected voter shall cast his or her vote. This case is, in this instance, where a voter still cast their vote even after 6 p.m. Because remember, the election is from 7 to 6 p.m. only. Only voters within 30 meters as of 6 p.m. will be allowed to vote. they shall be called, their names will be taken down by the BEI chairman or and list down. So anyone, okay, this means anyone within 30 meters will still be allowed to vote. So there's no limit as long as you are within the 30 minutes. But after once the BEI chairman gets your name, you have to wait for your turn, and the BEI chairman will call out your name 3 times. Any voter who is not present when called shall not be allowed to vote at a later time. So you have to be there and you have to make sure that you can hear the BEI chairman call out your name. If you don't hear your name and they call it out, that's too bad. You can't vote anymore. Okay, these are sample election offenses with respect to the ballots. Using of ballots other than the official ballot is an election offense. Using of a ballot other than the ones provided by the BEI, unauthorized printing of the ballots that appears as official ballots, unauthorized distribution thereof. When casting your vote, it shall be unlawful for a voter to. Actually, there's more, but I'll just skim over this. It's basically, you have to respect the sanctity of the ballot. You cannot just make any markings. You're not allowed to show it to anyone else. You're not allowed to take a picture of your ballot, to show it to anyone, to make it, to use your cell phone to photograph it, or use cardboard paper to make copies of your ballot. This is to prevent vote buying. You're also not allowed to disrupt or attempt to disrupt the normal operations of the PCOS. This is our sample election offenses. Interfere with another one's right to vote, acting in a disorderly manner, threatening anyone, molesting another voter. The next one is the second part of the lecture, Automated Election 101, which is how will my votes be counted? This is a sample of the process how your vote will be counted. From the BEI precinct, it will send your votes will be counted to the City Municipal Board of Canvassers, which in turn will send it up to the Provincial Board of Canvassers, which in turn will send it to the National Board of Canvassers for President and Vice President, and separately to a National Board of Canvassers for Senators and Party List Representatives. These are pre-voting steps to be done by the BEI. The BEI should remove the sticker seal of the PCOS box, because the PCOS should have a sticker that may ensure that it hasn't been used yet, and distribute the PIN of the BEI. The BEI chairman shall insert into the PCOS a security key for authentication to make sure that that is the PCOS assigned to the precinct. And the 2 other members of the BEI should enter their respective PIN, and they should initialize the voter count and initialize the report to make sure that it has a 0 vote for each candidate. This is to prevent any ballot stuffing before the PCOS machine is delivered. This is a certification by the chairman, the board of clerks. They should insert their right thumb mark and signatures. The next one is for the copies of the election returns. The first will be given to it depends, for the vice president and for the local. It depends, because for the local, you have to give it to the Provincial Board of Canvassers, but for the local, you have to give it to the Municipal Board of Canvassers first. I'll skip this. It's just this you can download.